Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? Welcome back to yet another live stream. Sorry, we were a few moments late. Some technical difficulties, but you always have those things when it comes to streaming. So let me get my final things ready so I can actually read the chat. Let's see if it's all working. And it is. It's working. All right. Lovely. Lovely. Can you all hear me, guys? How are we doing with the audio? Right. So, let's see. I did some modeling and things and see if this works. So, will this work? Yes, it works. Okay, lovely. All right. But first, let me fix me bloody camera because this is annoying. My camera keeps falling bloody off. It's terrible. It is terrible. Hello, Plukun. Hello, Justin. What's up, guys? What's up? I got a guest, of course, with me in this live stream. Of course, he's getting the final stuff ready, right? We're gonna do this a different way because this is bloody annoying me. Of course, guys, sorry again for the minor difficulties. As you always know, some things will go wrong with streaming, but I'm very glad that so many of you guys are here. Welcome to all of you. I hope we're all doing bloody grand. Let's see. So the guest is in the guest room. We'll give him a moment to introduce himself if it now works. Let me adjust my bloody camera. And here we are. Hello, guys. How are we all doing? Welcome to this live stream. I hope you guys are all having a splendid evening. As you can see, we have a title. We will be reviewing the Titanic 2012 miniseries. Some hate it, some love it. Opinions are very different on this matter, but I have a guest in the showroom, and I will not be doing this alone. So I will see if he's ready. Sean, you're muted. Hello.
Crying out loud.
Ah, there he is.
Am I in yet?
He is
Okay,
here.
good.
He's there. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce you, my good friend Sean. What the hell? Okay, here we go. So again, I am not alone. I am joined by a very good friend of me, I can say by now, I think. I had the honor of joining him on his podcast. But I will let him introduce himself. Sean, the stage is yours. Please tell us what you do. Please tell us.
Yep. Hello, everyone. Thanks for watching. I'm Sean. I do the Review It Yourself podcast, where we basically discuss films. I'm English, as you can hear, and yeah, just reviews what you think about a film, and I discuss it generally with a guest. Myself and Jamie, we did The Finest Hours, the 2016 film, and that's how we became acquainted. So yeah, good to be here. I'm looking forward to discussing this. Probably more. Hopefully, I enjoyed this more than I did watching it back. Yeah, so yeah, and I've had an interest in the Titanic since I was a kid. I've always read about it and things. So yeah, it's right in my wheelhouse, this one. So thanks for having me and Jamie, and I look forward to. I do podcasts, so the idea that we'll have like people listening who can fire questions at us and stuff like a live reaction is not what I'm used to. So yeah, it should be cool.
Well, we got already 6 people watching, so hello guys, thank you all so very much for joining. Before we begin, of course, if you have any thoughts on the series or have any question on the series, please ask away. For this time, and maybe in the future, if our dear friend Sean is so kind of joining us, he will show his face. But who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Maybe in the future. So who we got? We got again Plo Koon. We got Justin Peterson. We got Silicones. I hope I said your name correctly. Yes. So next you have to review already with one comment. He says next we have to review the Titanic 666 movie. Have you seen that
Oh,
one, Sean?
I think I started to watch it, and also, yeah, I won't be showing my face. There's a reason why I do podcasts. There's a phrase we have here, which is a face fit for radio.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, I've not seen that one. Yeah, all right, we'll give it a go, but I
Who
probably
knows?
won't
Maybe in the
enjoy
future. Who knows? I've seen this man previously, Sean. He's a very handsome man, so don't worry.
it.
So again, for the fifth time, we are talking about this miniseries, Titanic. Very straight to the point. This series was released in 2012 to mark, I think, the 100th anniversary of the sinking. I could be wrong.
No, no, you're right. Yeah, that's what
Yeah.
it was for.
Oh, excellent, excellent. There are many surrounding opinions about this series. Um, some hate it, some love it. Me myself, I don't hate it, but I wouldn't say this is the best series that I have watched. But we'll get to that in a minute. Sean, what are your impressions of the series before we start
Well,
talking?
so I remember when I mean, for anyone watching, I'm older by about 10 years, I think, 10 or 11 years than you. I
Mm,
remember when this was coming out, so I'll have probably been about your age.
mm,
Yeah, about that. When this came out, and I remember the hype for this was huge. ITV Channel 3 here in the UK was pushing this for months and months and months. And Julian Fellows, who was like the head person behind this, he directed, wrote. I don't know if he directed, but he wrote Downton Abbey, which is a huge success.
yeah.
Revived the kind of dresses and skirts and that kind of Pride and Prejudice type feel that hadn't been on television for a long time, and everyone thought this was going to be an absolute, to use an Americanism, an absolute slam dunk. And it
Mhm,
turns up, and everyone, the reaction at the time was very much, "Is that it?" It was
mhm,
so muted the response, and I think ever since then, I don't see many people talking about it outside of like Titanic circles, really, and it didn't make much of an impression. But because this came out, and then the Americans did Titanic Blood and Steel, which I've seen with
mm,
with Kevin Zegers. I actually think that's a superior series because we'll
100%.
get into it. We'll get into it, but yeah,
Yeah.
this series is just very very unsubtle and feels a real missed opportunity.
Well, what I think it's because, like I said earlier in your podcast episode, it is very rushed. It's a very rushed series. I mean, when it comes to storytelling, of course, the actors, of course, they got nothing to do with how the story goes. It all is of the producer, the writer of the series. For me, the reason not particular hating it is because even though the story is like very how we say it nicely, it's very ah
it you know it
it's
there's it tries to do too much.
yeah,
Well, there's
yeah,
too many characters in it.
yeah,
I thought I've got notes to go through this episode by episode if you'd like, Jamie. But
of
to
course, yeah.
cut to the chase for people, but stick around. But to cut to the chase for people, it's too long. Sorry, it's not. It tries to do too much in
Yes.
too little a space. It's four episodes long. The episodes are about 45 minutes, 42 minutes, something like that, because England and it was on ITV, so it was an hour slot with adverts in amongst it. They needed to cut the cast list down. It's one of those situations where I don't know about you, Jamie, but I think if you know a little bit about the Titanic, you'll probably enjoy this infinitely more than
Yeah.
someone who knows a lot about it. If you know a lot about it, it annoys you in terms of what it does with some of the characters and how it kind of it's like James Cameron. Like, let's not get away from it.
Yeah.
He's cast a lot. He's cast a long shadow in terms of this Titanic film, and but to be honest, he knew what he was doing, and he went very strong with some of his characters. Murdoch. First off, Murdoch is the one that springs to mind in terms of what he did with that character. But
Mhm.
I think this one goes a step further in that it perpetuates myths and legends about the Titanic that have since been disproved.
Yeah.
They had these big gates that locked steerage passengers. Well, they weren't certainly weren't locked down there. There was arguments that they kept them down there until they got the boat, but they had their own designated boat areas like everybody else. So that's I don't know. I mean, there's
Yeah.
positives there as well. The
Yeah.
set genuinely impressive, although the inside sets feel very like too small. But I
Yeah.
mean, for what it does, it did well. But
It
it's a
could have
TV.
been it could have been better. Let's keep it
Oh, a
blunt.
hell of a lot better. Oh, a
It
hell
could
of a
have
lot
been
better.
better. So, for those people who don't know what this series is about, I got a trailer right here. Um, I can showcase it to you guys. I won't keep the volume on the highest because I don't want to get copyrighted. Um, but I will show you the trailer. So you can get an idea of the feel of what it is the series is about. So let me share my screen. If it works, is it sharing? Oh no, that's the wrong thing. Jeez, God. Sure,
Don't worry.
you can
Sorry,
see
mate.
you can tell that I've not been streaming for quite some time.
Oh, this is what people want. It's like podcasting. People want the real behind the scenes
Yeah.
bits. They want to
Ah,
hear you flounder.
I know what I did. So right, here we go. Right, guys, here we go. Are you guys ready? We're gonna watch the trailer now. Here we go.
I'm off to the new world and I won't be back.
Steerage.
It won't be so bad.
On this ship, they prefer the boilers to be understaffed in the first-class dining room.
Nobody stops you going into
excuse me.
second class.
When they try to come the other way, that matters.
They're just people trying to get from Southampton to New York like we are.
There won't be a fault. Not on Titanic.
Oh God, it's annoying me already.
We seem to be cutting corners.
We'll never need lifeboats for every passenger.
First class, second class, what about your own class?
I'm always ready for a new adventure.
We're 6 people bound for a new life.
There's too much water underneath.
I'd be worried if there wasn't enough.
I've never seen such a clear sky or a calmer sea.
We have had some ice warnings, sir.
Man might sink us, even if nature can't.
Iceberg, right ahead.
We hit an iceberg!
We can't be in any real danger.
This is Titanic. She's safer than dry land.
She can't sink! She can't float! Women and children only.
Don't talk as if this is goodbye. If we're going down, we should go down fighting.
I'll find her!
The boat must go!
Oh, I forgot how long the trailer is. Oh,
No one will be left watching after this. How depressing was that?
Well, the music certainly didn't help at the end. Oh God. Let's see. My face cam. Where is it? Bloody hell. Right. There it is. So that is the trailer, my friends. So again, like I said, if you see the trailer, it shows you something very promising, right? You don't know what the story is about. You think, oh, this is excellent. This is amazing. A new side of the Titanic we haven't seen. The officers, third class passengers, steerage, all amazing stuff that we haven't seen before. But at the end, again, it didn't particularly go as planned. So my idea for this stream, I think it's gonna be a long stream, guys, because there are many things to discuss. I might cut it in 2 parts. We'll see how it goes. Of course, Sean, if you need to go, you need to go, and then of course we can always finish it another time. But yes, so the first one we're gonna begin with the first episode 1. and I will show you some visuals whilst we are talking. Sean, could you please perhaps explain what the main focus is of the first episode?
Yeah, okay, the first episode, we follow, well, it starts off, and again, not to stress it too much, but everybody thought this was going to be like Downton Abbey at sea, and that would have been good. I never got into Downton Abbey, but I had people who watched it, really enjoyed it. This series is just so unsubtle. Like from that trailer, it's all like really obvious stuff. Like we start off with a rich lady in jail. He's a
Yeah.
suffragette, and then she turned out to be Lord Manton, played by the fantastic Lennis Roche. The cast in this is unbelievable. So, it just didn't come together. We meet John Batley and his wife. John Batley, played by the fantastic Toby Jones, who voiced Dobby in Harry Potter. He's been in absolutely all sorts. He's a great actor. He plays a guy going to New York, taking some papers there. He's worked for Lord Manton for years, kept some of his dirty little secrets. We meet Mr. Barnes, played by the incredible Lee Carnes, who's been in all sorts of EastEnders, Catherine Tate show, all sorts over here. Great actor. He is the valet to the Earl of Manton. Miss Watson is Lady Manton's. Apologies if you hear rumbling in the background. It's thunder and lightning in here, but it's authentic, isn't it? So, we meet the first class. We meet the servants to the servants and the maids to the first class. They have their own section. Jenna Coleman, of course, she was all the rage when this was made. She'd been in Doctor Who, of course, as Clara Oswald. She then moves on to do that Victoria series that I can't remember the name of. She played Queen Victoria. That was massive at the time. And anyway, so she plays the maid to the maids and the servants. We meet Sophie Winkleman, a fantastic actress. She plays a lady from America who's got a lot of money, can't remember her name. She's great at accents, by the way, if anybody wants to know. And she's actually a member of the British Royal Family, but we'll not get into that. We meet Mr. and Mrs. Rush, who are from Yorkshire, and they talk like this all the way through, but they keep complaining about how they keep complaining, like, I don't want to sit with her, she's common. But anyway.
Yes, my God.
It's just too many. They're just so. I like the actor and actress who are in it. Can't remember the names, but they've been in all sorts. They are great, but they're not needed at all. Like, they just get rid of them. We meet Captain Smith, and I love the fact that they seem to have like a big issue with like all these Italians on the ship. Well, yes,
my Italian my Italian heart was broken after this.
Well, it's mostly BS. Okay, so don't worry about it. Right, it's rubbish. So.
True.
Because you have like a scene where Ismay says something like, "Oh, I didn't know we had Italians on board." Well, you should, Ismay, given that you employed Gatti and his entire restaurant because he wanted to. The Cunard liners had French restaurants, and he wanted like Italian food was all the rage, and he wanted that Italian restaurant. In fact, they had one on Olympic, and he makes it bigger on Titanic. So you shouldn't be surprised there's Italians kicking around. Of course, when we look at the inquiry stuff, sorry, tangent. When we look at the inquiry, yes, there were some officers who did say things such as like cowardly foreigners and about the Italians and stuff. So I could kind of see where they were going with it, but it doesn't make a lot of sense anyway. I'm not. So sorry, mate. Just my last point on the beginning bit. We meet Lady Georgiana, who was the posh one who was in jail earlier. She gets released by Lord Manton. We meet like her. She meets the Wideners, and she. But the thing about the prejudices of that time, yes, they were there. Well, there wouldn't have been prejudices that they were, but 100 years ago, it's so clumsy. It's like hitting you over the head, and it's like you don't need to tell us that. It's just anyway. And everyone's so antagonistic in the first episode, like all the way through it. They're always sniping and arguing. It's like if this is what society was like, it wouldn't function. And I'm not saying there wasn't people who thought they were better than other people. Stewards and maids, like in the James Cameron film, when they stood in the back when Carl and Rose are arguing. They were there to be seen, but not to be heard. They were just there. And then obviously every episode, for people who don't know, ends. So it follows certain characters, and every episode ends with the ship beginning to sink. So the
Yeah.
first 3 episodes start like this, and then the fourth episode is all the stories interwoven together, shows you who survives and who doesn't. I did like the aspect that I did like. I'm trying to be sorry, Jamie. I'm going on here. The part I did like in the first episode, probably more for money, but the fact they probably couldn't build it too expensive. They don't use the grand staircase; they use the rear staircase, which I liked. It felt like it was an interesting way of showing a different perspective of the film. Sorry,
Mhm.
of the ship. I think it's the only series and film that's ever been done that doesn't show the grand staircase in one form or other. I like that. Sorry, that's my dad reacting to the thunder.
Mm.
There you go. I liked the God. That's close. The Ireland chat. The political part of it. But this, it doesn't. It does too much. It's like, well, have a bit of that and have a bit of this, have a bit of that. No. Just pick a few and focus on them. If you want to make this about Ireland and the sectarianism, knock yourself out. That'd be really interesting to do. But don't try and do everything. But again, there's powerful emotional scenes of women and children getting into the boat, the men having to step back. That's the first episode anyway, so
Yeah.
enjoy.
Guys, I'm so sorry if there's difficulties, but I have scenes with my streaming podcast, and for some reason it just doesn't seem to work. So I'm sorry if you see my green screen passing by sometimes and then going back to share screen. I hope that didn't ruin what Sean was trying to explain. So I'm sorry, Sean, but I was trying to get stuff ready, and I tried earlier, and then it worked, but for some reason now it didn't. So we got Yugen. Hello, Jamie. Hello, Prince Yugen. I hope you're well. Plo Koon, he says, also, I think this was the first depiction of a Harry Widener in a Titanic movie. I'm not sure because I think it was also a series about inside the Titanic. Or no. I'm sorry, by the way. Yes, you're right. I'm thinking of Jack Thayer. No, but this is officially indeed the first depiction of the wideness in a Titanic kind of movie.
Yeah.
So there are some historical figures in this series. Again, like Plo Koon said to begin with, we have the wideness. We have the Esters. We have, of course, Bruce Ismay, Thomas Andrews, Lord Perry. We got the Captain Smith with all his officers. Who do we got more?
We have Chief Officer Wilde. We
Yes.
have the first time David Blair is ever shown as well, who was removed from the Titanic. You've got Second Officer Lightoller, First Officer Murdoch.
Indeed.
You've got the unsinkable Molly Brown, who's actually finally shown as taken over a lifeboat. In the others, she's kind of browbeaten. In some of them, and there's plenty of historical characters in there. Of course, we see who else? The richest man on the ship, of course. John Jacob Astor the Fourth. We have Benjamin Guggenheim and his mistress, Madame Aubert. We also get to see Julio,
yes,
who's like his valet, his manservant type thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, there's probably a few more, but there's a lot of historic characters in there. But again, there's too many. Anyway. Sorry, I'm sorry, everyone. I don't want to just mourn about it.
No.
I'll mourn, but I'll give you reasons. It just feels like the cast is amazing. Like, and there's a lot of creative people behind it, but it just doesn't work. But if
and also one thing, if it now bloody works with sharing my screen, and of course again it bloody doesn't. My God, what is this? The program is being an ass today. So right, let's do this. Play scene. I hate this. Right, I hope you guys can see this. All right, yeah, no, you're lovely. You can see this. Right. So, what's the reason? What's the thing with this model of the Titanic right here? With the first episode. By the way, these episodes, they're being showcased on YouTube by Mr. Titanic Films by Mark. So if you want to see the episodes, please go to his channel. And there are the episodes that you can watch for your own pleasure. But one thing I always notice when it comes to the episodes of this series is that the Titanic herself, she looks so blurry. I don't know if I don't know if you have a second screen, Sean, to like watch the stream what I'm watching. But every model of the Titanic when she's in harbor in Southampton, the model from afar looks so blurry. Have you noticed that
Oh,
too?
blurry. Sorry, I was
Yeah,
struggling.
yeah, no blurry.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to them, I think it's the limitations of. I think they did a pretty good job.
Mm-hmm.
I think with the restraints of television, and then the fact when because I've got the DVD, so God knows why, and I watched the behind the scenes that they built like a massive section of the ship in Hungary of the boat deck, so they filmed it over there in Budapest or Budapest, sorry, I should say, and it was absolutely like brilliant what they did, but it just, yeah, I don't know, I think it was just the limits of the time, but I think they did a pretty good job. I
Yeah.
just think they had to kind of make it look a little bit grainy, I think, to one of those things.
Yeah. I'm showing the chat right now also in other picture of the model herself. Here she looks a little bit more prettier. And always something which is very grand as well is when the Titanic sets off. By the way, Sean, when you were seeing things like there's so many things going on in each episode, you can clearly see it. Like if I'm trying to pick some scenes, and all of these categories keep going together. So to mark your point that there's so much stuff going on in the series.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, too much. Oh, yeah, I can see what you're looking at now. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I like that shot of them bringing loading the cargo, but the fact that this before that they show a shot of the ship the other way, and it's like I don't. So the geography is a little bit.
in another episode, right?
Yeah, they show the ship facing like the wrong way, which is a bit odd.
Yes.
But yeah, I can see what I mean. It's just they did a good job, to be fair to them. I thought the like the ribbon around the funnels was a bit too visible, but whether or not in previous shows or TVs they've pared that back a bit, I don't know. But I thought the lines around the funnels looked a little bit too prominent. But
Yeah.
like I said, who knows?
Yeah, that's true. Also, one thing again, this is episode 1. There's so much to cover. One of my favorite scenes, or some scene that I find has no sense, is right about around here. So again, like Sean said in the early episode, we focus about the family of Lord Mountbatten. His daughter, Lady Georgiana Greggs, she's been arrested for demonstrating for women's to vote, and particularly it was like a big scandal because many people on the ship already knew it. But there's like this one scene where they're going all out to dinner. Yes, right here. I'm not gonna play the audio because of course copyright. By the way, this is Wildner, the young Wildner right here. One thing, of course, when it comes to historically accurate, this is of course nothing. This has nothing to do with the original Titanic, or not, at least that I know of. I could be wrong. But when it comes to interiors, this is just absolutely wrong. In the series, there's no picture of the grand staircase. The third class dining saloon is being showed. The promenade decks, the lifeboats, or the main deck. I don't know why I'm spacing on the name right now. But the deck of the lifeboats is being shown, and the bridge. So there are some few historically accurate sets that are being shown, but not that very much. This being one of them.
Do you know? For me, sorry.
No, please go.
So no, I was just going to say, Jamie, for me, and I think for most people who watch something about the Titanic, not everybody who makes the Titanic film is going to be able to show the grandeur of it. Like the idea that this would live up to kind of James Cameron's film set and those massive rooms, it's just never going to happen. But I think people are much more predisposed to let that past, let that stuff go when what they're watching is a decent story. I think this series tries to do far too much, and you end up looking at these tiny little bits, and that stands out more because you're like, I don't get what's going on, but they do have these very small rooms, and it's like, this is why I think they should have scrapped having anybody from first class in it at all.
No, because also it seems for some reason when it comes to interior rooms for first class, this is like the only room where first class passengers go before going to dinner. I was like, couldn't you have shown maybe perhaps the grand staircase, or let's say the first class entrance, something like that instead of this? Because I think when it comes to replicating something, that shouldn't be too hard. I mean, at least at that skill. But again, who am I? I have no experience when it comes to set making. So Sean, I don't know if you remember who were these two passengers? These I don't know.
Oh, yeah. Hang on a second. Let me have a look. Yeah. Oh, hello. I'm Mr. and Mrs. Rush. We don't like
the Rushes.
all these.
Oh man,
They were just it's just not needed. Like, and I'm not having got people from Yorkshire. Like, it's not too far from where I am, but it's just no need for it. And the fact they were like, oh, what the hell was that? Oh, where's Kitty? I need you to go get Kitty.
I will show you. So
the
guys,
dog or whatever. And it's like, oh, just
yeah. So guys, watch this. This is a scene where all the first class, we are introduced to the first class passengers of the series, the main ones, and this is how the Rushes introduce themselves. So,
a moment. Mr. and Mrs. Rush.
Here they go.
Do forgive us if we've kept you all waiting. I had to see where they've locked up my poor darling.
Her Pekingese. The dogs have to travel in cages.
Suki in a cage. I feel like William
Suki,
Wilberforce.
sorry.
Who'll free the dogs?
Can you see the pure discomfort in their eyes? They're like, who the hell are you? What? What did we just hear? Or what did we just hear?
I mean, it's a little bit, because they try and do the same. It's for a series that was meant to give us something new and a fresh perspective. That they have, if this series would a whole series without the first class, keep Mr. Barnes, keep the valets, keep the servants, keep the stalkers, keep the it's like if anyone's seen the film about Titanic's engine room, I can't remember what it's called.
Ah, yes, Saving the Titanic.
Brilliant. Just set down there. They could have shown a different side to this. Without, they could have had it all just focused on the crew. And yes, we saw some passengers in passing, but that's hard to say. But I just don't know why they did it. And this kind of discomfort that they have, that people seem to have with the fact that they're Yorkshire or Yorkshire. It's like, well, why? What's your issue? Because clearly this is like a time when people like Molly Brown. I know she's American, but they were finding money, and they were the class system was so rigid at the time. But it's more the fact that I don't understand what the point of them is. What are they bringing to the story? Nothing. And then there you have the bit where we'll invite everybody to Gatty's restaurant, and we'll all eat there, and we'll leave them. It's all a little bit odd, to be honest. It does too much.
And guys, again, this isn't the stream. This isn't the stream where we are like, if you like this series, we despise you. This is not the stream for that at all. This is just this stream is purely for giving our personal opinions of what we think. In this series, there are many great scenes, which I will show you as well, of course. But I mean, in this first part, there are some things that are just wrong, in my opinion. We have 4 people in the chat, guys. If you have any questions on this series, what it was like, or if you have seen this series, please let us know in the chat. So we've gotten that out of the way. There are some more scenes that are just like first class mumbling. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is a scene where I talked about earlier. So Lady Georgiana Greggs again, she was arrested for the women's right to vote, and this is like another scene. Mountbatten, family Mountbatten, is getting to their cabin, and this is how they are confronted with the whole situation.
No wonder.
Manton, you mean?
Manton, yes, sorry.
Georgiana.
It's all right.
I do sympathise.
Yeah.
How hard it is to keep the young in check. I'm told she was in one of those dreadful suffragette demonstrations. You must be at your wit's end. I would be.
I'm sure. But we are a political family. You, I think, have always been in trade.
Burn. That's a 1912 burn right there.
Again, not needed at all. But anyway, there are one of my favorite episodes, or one of my favorite scenes from this episode is let me find it right here. Where is it? Oh yeah, also this scene right here. This is an over interior shot. This room right here, guys. I have no clue when it comes to like the more public spaces in first class. But here the Mountbattens are taking some of the other cast to a tea party, and this is one of their other sets right here. So forgive me if I'm wrong, but I don't recall this being a room on the Titanic. Again, I could be completely wrong, but I've not seen this in any pictures, of course, of the Olympic class liners. Have you seen this before, Sean?
I mean, I think what the series does is it knows it can't have those grand. So I think those grand places, it can't do what James Cameron did. And I know I keep mentioning him, but it's the best depiction, isn't it? They can't do it. So they do the best they can do with what they've got at their disposal. They build the boat deck, they build the lifeboats, they build davits, and that they build the bridge. Outside of that, they are when it comes to the interior scenes, I get the feeling. And this is not from any like behind the scenes. It's not from anything I've read. It's just my own personal opinion. I think Julian Fellows wanted to keep it much more closed quarters in terms of like Downton Abbey and like some of the other things he's done, where it's people sitting around and it's not about this massive ship. It's about the people and the characters and what they're talking about, what's affecting their lives. But I think it's very jarring for people, and clearly, like yourself, I know that others who are used to seeing these massive areas, and you just see them in this really small, wood-panelled room. And yes, the Titanic did have a lot of wood that on the wreck. It's only generally the teak that survives. But I think it's jarring for people to see such small places. And I think one of the creative, I know from the behind the scenes, one of the creative choices was to have colours very, very muted. So you'll see that none of the characters have like a flowing red dress or anything like that. The colours were all meant to be very, very muted. And I think when you have like muted clothes against, a muted set, it's very kind of, it's very odd. And you notice this in the series as well. You have these really dark rooms with first class that seems to be, it looks like something out of Wolf Hall where they're lighting everything with candles to be realistic, if not it's a series. And then you get, then in the next scene, you've got Jenna Coleman walking down these stark white corridors that looks much more like what we know the Titanic was like.
Yeah, for example, this scene right here. This is what Sean means with the stark white corridors. Yeah. This is the Titanic we know.
Like there's again. I've repeated myself about 3 times, but there's not like my issue with this series is not like I know from talking to other Titanic, other Titanic enthusiasts and stuff, and other podcasters who do this kind of thing that they have issues. They could list like this lifeboat wasn't here and they didn't get like that. I can't give you that on this because I haven't looked into it that much. But I watch it purely for like it's entertainment, and I can get over the small rooms, the dark rooms. But those inconsistencies combined with a story that has too much in it, too many characters, characters that I would have loved to have seen have I love Batley, I love his wife. I thought Lord Manton was great.
Yeah.
Dennis Rush is brilliant. I thought the wife was good. I liked the bit with the daughter, but then on top of that, they had the Wideners. Then they had. Again, I'd have taken a whole series. The Astors, yeah. Then the Crowbar Molly Brown in there because you might as well. You have Dorothy Gibson. That's it. Sorry, another historical who did the first film, Saved from the Titanic. It was unfortunately lost in a fire in 1914, I think, at the studios. So you have all these different things, and it's like it's too much. They needed to really cut it back and just have I love the story with Barnes and that bit about the brooch. I love that. I love that story. I liked Georgiana. I liked Manton. I loved the Batleys. I just thought, why it's like it felt like they're like, oh, go for it, do whatever you want. It's like you did too much. Think Christopher Nolan making Tenet, just too much. Just calm it down a bit.
And it's a sad thing because you understand what they're trying to do. You understand what they're trying to do with this series. But again, it's just so much. And when it comes to classes, they're all, instead of keeping one class, all right, let's keep it one. Let's the first episode let's keep it first class. Second episode, let's get it third class. Let's keep it crew. But they're all keep interjecting. For example, in this episode right here, with Paulus Andrini, he just gets thrown into the first class episode like nothing. I'm like, but we're talking about first class. Why are we seeing a servant from a crew episode, which we're going to meet later? Stuff like that, which get you a kind out of the story.
I don't mind the way they did it. I think it's an interesting way to do it, where you have every episode ends with a sinking, because that's what everybody wants to see.
Oh no, yes, we'll get to that. Yes, that's I don't want to sound dark, but when it comes to the sinking, this series has the best sinking sequences I've ever watched. I mean, of course, James Cameron is for me number one, but when it comes to sinking of the RMS Titanic, this one is, I believe this series is one of the most historically accurate, when it comes to Titanic's breakup.
As far as they know, this is the thing. You get a theory and then it's accepted. Then somebody else says, "Oh no, that doesn't meet the evidence." And then another one. It's as historically accurate to what they think happened, but no one they weren't there. I've always thought with the split of the Titanic, something, whether it's split underwater, I don't know, but the lights had gone out. The only people, the lifeboats were however far away, pitch black night, no moon. The people, some of the people on board, Lightoller, who was on board right to the very end, who they never show what happens to him, but there's a documentary. I think is it Untold Stories where he got stuck against a grate, an air intake grate, and dragged down with the ship and then ejected by this hot air. Lawrence Beasley, I think, was on the ship till the very end. Again, a second class passenger. I think he was a school teacher. A fantastic. His stories, follow him, but no one ever has. It goes through these things when people even on board the ship didn't know that it had split in half. Even the few that survived, who stayed on till the very end. What they tended to do in the inquiries, which everyone, I think it's agreed both of them were whitewashes, whether you're talking about the British or the American. Oh, my microphone's just fell over. That's not good. Yep, the stand's gone. I'm going to tick. I'll just have to sort this out. But anyway, all I mean by that is I think the way they've shown the ship sinking, I think they've kind of gone with the agreed thing at the time. And it's one of the most accurate, but who knows? Who knows?
One thing I also like when it comes all the sequences of the iceberg spottings, for example, right here, it's very subtle. It's not like the James Cameron version. For example, right here, crew on the deck and all is going well, and when they see iceberg right ahead, watch how It's calm. So just normal activity of life.
What did you see? Thank you. Iceberg, right ahead.
And boom, the music kicks in. Like the intense, how do you say it in English? The intenseness.
Yeah, intense. Like, it goes from there. Yeah, no, I think it becomes like, like quite tense. Then it like the I can't think of the word now. It's like what do I mean? What's the word? And it's my language. What do I mean? The tempo, the speed of everything. It just gets so much quicker all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Bang, we're into the action now.
Yeah. And one of my favorite scenes is right here. No, right here. So after this scene, here. So before I move on, before I show you this scene, the Titanic, of course, after she was hitting when the iceberg struck, the passengers, of course, before the iceberg struck, I'm sorry, the passengers, they were used to the sound of the engines, right? The running sound of the engines. And in this series, in this episode in particular, they capture very well the sound of the engines all of a sudden stopping. So for example, I will play this out in full audio. Let's hope we will not get copyright struck. But in this scene right here, the engines are still moving. Okay, so right here, the missus is sleeping. Why can't I get to the exact moment? Yes.
Can you hear that, darling? What? Nothing.
Louisa?
So did you guys capture that in the chat? Did you capture it? I'll play it again. So we hear the sounds of the engines going, and then. So keep it close here. You hear now the engines. Boom, silence. And I think they did that very well.
And then they actually have the steam as well. There's a scene where they mentioned the steam.
Yeah.
Obviously, you have that vent in the steam.
Yeah.
Which obviously James Cameron shows is very, very loud. But it's that kind of thing that's the Titanic stop. Like it never restarts its engines again after that, and it's quite a sobering thing, that it stops. I do think the impact, the collision with the iceberg is much more realistic. And I mean, even James Cameron admits that he kind of overcooked it a bit. Had things shaking and that kind of thing, which is over the top. It was like a glancing blow. Lightoller is asleep. A lot of people are asleep. Most people are asleep, and even the people there kind of think, "Oh, we've just got past it. We've got away with that one," type thing. So it was a very slight. People described it as being, there was a slight movement, but nothing that kind of made them think there was any danger. Nothing like that. Nothing that kind of thing.
Again, guys, there are some criticisms when it comes to this series, but where credit is due. And when it comes to all the sinking sequences, this series is one of my favorites. For example, also right here. So earlier said in the before we started with this episode right here, that Mountbatten, he was in one scandal.
Mountain.
Mountain. Yes. I keep saying it wrong. Sorry.
He had his. I can't do Irish. Can I do Irish? I don't think so. Not on a live stream when I can't edit it out. I don't know. I was going to say it's the way your dirty little secret in Dulwich, which is down south somewhere.
The scene right here.
Yeah, he's had a daughter out of wedlock.
Yeah. So here is the pure chaos of women trying to get their belongings out of the safes.
Purse is off.
And lady, the wife of Batten, she's like acting like, oh, I'm higher up in the anarchy because I'm wife of an earl. So even the first class passengers, they are all beneath me because I'm wife of an earl. And this again in this scene.
Get hold of their jewels.
Close it down, now. And get them all up on deck.
Thank God I kept the best of mine out.
Here it goes, here it comes.
As if you needed look, you patronizing bitch.
Oh, swearing, sorry.
No more grace, but I am not in the mood. You think you're so smart, so fine, so aristocratic, don't you? You are pathetic. You're stupid.
You get away from us.
Control your wife.
How dare you, you arrogant pig.
Will you shut up?
We're not shut up for a dirty philanderer like you. He is quite the big nobleman now, aren't you? What about your grubby little secrets and Dully? You foolish woman.
Again, by the actor who plays Matten.
Linus Roche.
He is an amazing actor. He's an amazing actor.
He is. He was in Law and Order as District Attorney Michael Cutter. He's also, a bit of trivia for anybody out there, he's the son of William Roach, who plays Ken Barlow in Coronation Street. Wants to know.
Mm-hmm. And he also played in the series Vikings.
I've not seen that yet.
Nah, that's all about Vikings, of course, but that's one of my favorite scenes as well. Also, again here, one thing also with this series, the soundtrack is amazing, in my opinion. For some reason, they didn't add it to Spotify. They only uploaded it to SoundCloud. I wonder why, because the soundtrack is amazing in the series, but who knows.
Oh my God, that reminds me. Oh, how many times in this series, anybody, does somebody say, like, and it can't have been that widely known, the amount of times you hear somebody say, oh, they're fighting to free a collapsible, it might be the last boat that goes. Oh my God, you hear that 8 million times. It's like, oh my God. Like,
but the thing with that voice, what I appreciate myself is it shows all the classes working together. It brings all the classes working together. If you're crew, if you're first class, if you're second class, it all comes together. I understand what you mean, but I don't mind it per se.
No, you're right. It didn't matter. I was just trying to be funny, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter at the end. I think that's one of the big things of a disaster. It's a great leveler in the. Got to be careful how I put this because we know that you had more chance to live if you were of certain class or whatever. But I think it was a great leveler. If you were on that ship at the end, once the lifeboats had gone, there was very few ways you got out of it. People who survived, I think, they pulled 6 out. I think.
Yeah.
And you very rarely is it that you're going to survive once you're stuck on that ship. And I think people did have to work together, and it is something that you see, and it's that's my favorite scene actually. I think it's the end of this episode where God, I'm getting names wrong. Where Batley turns to his wife and says, "I love you," and it cuts to black. Like the worst moments in the series where I thought I really like that. There's a great bit in one of the later episodes where Manton says, where Murdoch says, "This boat must go," and he says, like, you will not. Now let them through."
Oh,
and he's That's for the Irish guy's family, and that was. I love that. Like, it's absolutely great. And there's other bits as well,
Also, one thing as well with the series. Again, like Sean says, we'll get to that. So, again, guys, this will be a long stream. Hopefully, I won't have those longer technical difficulties. But grab yourself a good popcorn and grab a beer because we're gonna discuss it a little bit further. But also in the final episode, you were talking about the scene where Battenside says, "You will not." There's also that scene with Murdoch where it's pure chaos and he's like, what was it? Contribute to the stern and wait for rescue. And I was like, yes,
screams, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, head to the stern and wait
Yeah,
for rescue. But he absolutely screams it
out of
like
his
there's
lungs, out of
oh
his
yeah, absolutely.
lungs. That was so well acted. That was so well. And also with this scene right here, Lady Georgiana Grex, she asks when the ship's going down, all the people are running. She likes ask at the band or the band, can you play one song for me? And they do it, but there's like the way when they play it, there's like very ghostly and sad tune to it. I will show you right here. So
The young lady who likes the autumn waltz.
here.
Autumn.
Would you play it for me now?
Come on.
And it moves away so beautifully, like we will never see them again.
Well, I mean, we've got Wallace Hartley who on the violin, the leader of the band, and
Mm-hmm.
he, the band had just had a pay cut. The
Mm-hmm.
White Star Line weren't exactly. They were quite frivolous when it came to wages. In fact, they stopped paying the crew for the minute the ship goes down, and they actually bill the widows, they bill the families for the lost uniforms. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they weren't exactly egregious. So is that all right? Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I mean that scene is it's interesting as well when you know a bit of the history of the Titanic. In that the people who there's near my God to thee has always been held up as being the song that they would play. I think Wallace Hartley told his sister that he would play it if he were ever on a sinking ship,
Mm-hmm.
and they in fact recovered his violin a couple of years. Well, they found it a couple of years ago, and it's but one of the last people to survive on the I want to say collapsible B, but don't quote me because I'm not. The one who survived on the upside down, collapsible boat with light was
Mm-hmm.
junior wireless operator Harold Bride. Now, when he leaves, the telegram room, he hears the band playing Autumn.
Yeah.
Now, which sounds very similar to Near My God to Thee. So I wonder whether this film again was going to say, actually, we're going to say it's Autumn.
Yeah. Yeah.
But who knows? It's again another. They do things in this series where they're going to do things a little bit differently, but then
Mm-hmm.
it rests upon these very strange things, which we'll get to later on, where they lock the Italians up, which is just
Yeah.
a scandalous thing to put in when there's absolutely no record whatsoever. In fact, Gatti, who was head of the restaurant, who was literally headhunted by Ismay, his body was recovered by, I think it was the CSS McKay Bennett. I think he was buried
Mm-hmm.
at sea. I think might not be the right ship, but Gatti's body was recovered. So I don't understand why. And I've thought this on many times when you watch things about the Titanic, the real life stories are amazing enough. Why
Mm-hmm.
do you feel the need to add these imaginary bits like, oh, they
Mm-hmm.
locked up the Italians, they this, that, and it's like, hang on, no, there's no record of that. The third class passengers, were they locked down there? There's some saying people got kept down and got stopped. They
Yeah.
locked certain
Yeah.
doors
Yeah.
between
Yeah.
their classes, but there was a way from third class to get to the boat to get to the boat there because everybody had their stations. From what I know, I might be wrong, but
Yeah.
the people in the Titanic community will no doubt correct me. Fair play to them,
This-
who know more about it than I do. It's one of these things where I think you've got to be very careful when you do things like this that you don't.
Mhm.
This is very down to earth. But there's parts later on where it gets very sensationalist, and it's like
Mhm.
I don't know why you felt the need to do that at all because they make Ismay, for example. Oh, I'm jumping ahead. Sorry, but
No.
Ismay later on, he jumps onto the lifeboat when there is literally loads of people stood there. He jumps on in front of all the other men.
Yeah.
Now, whatever you think about his actions, it's generally agreed that he jumped on when there was nobody else left.
True.
He just jumps in, apparently, and it's and the whole scene again with the poor dialogue in parts where it's like, Captain Smith, let Ismay be the coward of
Proud of
Titanic.
Titanic.
Let me be the fool who sank it. No one talks like that. By all
Mhm.
accounts, Captain Smith had a kind of a breakdown. There was no command really, and every decision made were
Mhm.
things that were suggested to him, like
Mhm.
shouldn't we get the women and children in the box, and stuff like that. I do like the way that this TV series doesn't have that, that scene they tend to have in Titanic dramas, like the '97 one, where they stand round and they all go, "The ship's going to sink," and all the officers are there. That did not happen. They didn't
Mm.
have a big muster. There was confusion. It took a long time as to whether the ship was going to sink or not.
Mhm.
People thought it would sink a little and settle, and if there'd been 4 compartments breached, not 5, it would have gone down by the head and then eventually settled.
Mm.
But yeah, yeah, one of those things.
And also, what Sean meant with like the episode ending in one black screen. So it's all pure chaos right here.
Thing
Here.
you could do that would help me so very much, my dear.
Live.
Live.
For me.
For me. Please. Live.
Lady Manton, the boat must go!
Please, Mama, please come with me.
Yeah, that's well done. That is well done. Right. So that is the first episode. Again, guys, mainly focuses about first class. Let's see if it now works with my face. Where's my bloody face? Ah, yes. Here we go. So, Sean, if you should give a rating for the first episode, what would you give it?
Oh, I don't really do ratings.
Now you have to.
Damn it! How could you do this to me, sir? I think it's. Oh, I don't know. I think with Batley, it is one of the. I don't know. Actually, I think the strongest episode's the last one. Actually, the first one, yeah, it's okay. I mean, 7 out of 10. It's one of those things. It's just not very good. Unfortunately, it's just too much. Just does too much.
So, guys, thank you all for who's still sticking around. Again, this is a long series. There are many things moving around, and we are picking our favorite series, and we are dissecting each episode. But of course, I hope you're guys. If there's people of you in the stream who are enjoying it, or just will later watch on, I hope you will find this very helpful when watching the series. So I think we shall now move on to episode number 2. Sean, please tell us what's the main purpose of episode 2.
Okay, episode 2 begins with a discussion of the Home Rule Bill, which was I know bits of Irish history, not a lot of what was going on at the time, but it was basically what was going. Well, essentially it was about the independence. Anyone who doesn't know, Northern Ireland. Well, oh god, it's about basically England, the United Kingdom, whether or not Ireland stays as part of it, or part of Ireland stays as part of it. But here's the issue: I don't know a lot about it.
It gets
Here's the issue.
It gets a lot more political.
Yeah, but the problem is, again, there's so little explanation of the issue. So for people like me, and I've done history at uni. I know a lot about British history. Admittedly, my Irish history is not great, and it's not an issue you want to stumble into and try and talk about if you don't have a clue, right? So it genuinely isn't.
No, yeah, of course.
But for people who know little about the topic, like me, who would appreciate a little bit more, it just doesn't do enough. Yes, it talks. The Titanic Blood and Steel does it far, far better. That has a whole episode around Catholics and Protestants and the sectarianism and of that was going on in Northern Ireland at that time, and how you couldn't get a job. You'd struggle to get a job if you were Catholic, and the way the White Star Line employed people, and it touches upon that a little bit. This just doesn't do enough. We meet a Catholic electrician. Well, actually, not tell a lie. He's an engineer, but he's fixing the lights. Maloney, yeah, and he basically gets told by Andrews, if it was up to you, what would you do? And we see a little bit about the discussions about iron rivets at the bow and stern, steel rivets everywhere else. For what I understand, though, there was a riveting machine, but it didn't work when parts of the ship curved, from what I understand. we get parts about the Batleys, and we find out why the wife is so, and she says it there, why she's so antagonistic. You know, her life hasn't gone the way she thought, and she couldn't have a child with Batley, and she blames herself, even though he's very much like, well, you know, don't blame yourself. Type thing. Like, you know, who knows? You know, it's back in 1912, so there's no way to find. Not like you can do fertility tests or anything. So
Yeah,
there's all that kind of thing. I didn't do an awful lot of notes for this one. There's, you know, the third class passengers again. Oh well, yeah. Oh god, it's the episode where you follow him and you follow his wife, and they meet the guy, don't they? They meet
the Russian.
Is he Russian? The Peter the painter, who actually. So
Pletkov.
of course, yeah. So with the have I mixed up? Sorry, everyone. Have I mixed up my episodes here?
How
No, I
dare
haven't.
you?
Okay,
Oh.
so I know. How dare I? Which was a real thing. The siege of whatever street it was. Where am I? I think I lost part of my notes. Ignore me. Anyway, so you have the again, you know, you have this Peter character, who turns out to be this criminal, this cop killer, and the wife all of a sudden is like enthralled by him. It's all a bit.
Falls in love.
I didn't like that. I didn't like it at all.
No.
I'd rather have stuck with, you know, what's his name? I'm going to get his name wrong. What was the Italian guy's name?
Sandrini.
Sandrini. Yeah, Paolo and his brother. I'd rather have stuck with that.
Or
if
you would call it like in my Italian, because of course Italians, they're my people. They're my I'm Italian myself. If you would like say it perfectly in Italian, it's like Sandrini.
Okay. Prego. So there's we have sorry. So we have you know, that we start to look at the different characters.
Yeah.
You know, we see the third class passengers locked below. Although evidence given at the inquiry did suggest that initially some of the gates blocked the way of serious passengers. As stewards waited for instructions again, they never came. And when they were open to let them up through the other parts, the lifeboats most had already gone. Now, I did like them showing the stewards saying lock up the cabins because we don't want people looting. I liked that because there was that kind of forethought. A lot of people did not think the ship would sink.
Was it all in this episode?
I might have jumped forward. I do apologize.
Okay.
I think I've mixed up episode 2 and 3. None of the evidence presented, but it's very repetitive as well. The series, there's bits of scenes, and you see scenes multiple times. So, none of the evidence presented at any of the inquiries pointed to any malicious intent to obstruct third class passengers, but rather an oversight, as the BBC put it in one of their articles, rather an oversight caused by unthinking obedience to the regulations. But the results were still deadly. Now, yes, we know it was they were a stickler for the rules, but again, it's another series where, you know, every time there's English involved, they're always like, "Oh, I'm sorry, madam, I can't let you down to third class and regulations," and you're like, "Oh, for God's sake!" We do love a rule, but yeah.
I'm going to show
I'm sorry.
No, please go ahead.
It's only a problem when they walk the other way. You're like, it's so unsubtle.
True.
Unsubtle.
So right here. Right. Oh, finally, bloody hell, I figured it out. So I'm gonna share one of my screens. Show again some of the scenes I loved. Again, with this second episode, you get a little bit of the more political side of things. Also, when it comes to the discussion of lifeboats, as you can see right here. Finally. I did it one time, yes! Oh my god, sorry. I mocked up the whole first part. But here it comes when it talks about lifeboats.
You're being stubborn. We'll never need lifeboats for every passenger. They're ferries, nothing more. If liners sink at all, they take a very long time about it. More than enough for other boats to reach them.
Exactly. When Republic sank, 6 people were killed in the collision, but everyone else had been transferred to another vessel before the ship went down.
And we have the 4 collapsibles in addition to the 16 boats, so we've far more places than we're obliged to provide.
Maybe, but it's what? We seem to be cutting corners. Do you mean to
I love how I love how they showed the concerns of Andrews in this one as well. What do you think, Sean?
Yeah, but I didn't like it. Isn't it like it's 4 episodes? Is it like 4 days before the ship? Isn't it like a couple of days before the ship set sail? It just it's like really like they
I
were
think
arguing about
I think so because I was showing the Littleton as well that they were talking. All the officers were talking amongst the crew, or all the officers were talking amongst themselves how the jobs would go, which I will show you as
yeah.
well. And
See, it's just daft. I mean, you get it's just very inaccurate. Yes, Andrew Carlisle, who designs the ship, he does leave the project because the 64 planned lifeboats, hence these new Welland davits that could swing in and swing out to pick up boats, and an electric winch to winch them back up to the deck. They this concern and the kind of language of I think we're cutting corners. It's too modern. I'm not saying they didn't talk like that, but Andrews was known as a perfectionist. This argument that the ship cut corners in terms of rivets and things. Well, no, they got best. They didn't get best. They got best. It's not like they were second class on things. They did things as well as they could. Andrews is on that ship because he's part of the Guarantee Group, which I think is a group of about a dozen men and apprentices who go to basically work out the ship and find out any faults with it. For example, one of the main differences with the Titanic Olympic is that they close in part of the deck. That's why they look slightly differently from the outside because the wind whistled down the Olympics promenade deck a little bit too much, and they had private cabins put in, private promenade deck like you see, you see that in the James Cameron film where Jack goes down the staircase and says, "Hello, Thomas, Mr. Andrews," and he's writing in a book. So that's why he's there to iron out all these little faults, basically. So the idea that this argument would have been going on by the time the Titanic's about to sink, sail, sorry, these discussions have come and gone. So
yeah.
this idea that they would essentially be arguing about it, days before, it's like not discussing it is like, no, I don't think so. And the whole bit of, and I kind of got where they were going. Like, how does a man like that get to be in charge of in charge of the White Star Line? Oh, his dad founded the company, which was true, but again, it's just so subtle, and it throws these things out there, but never does anything about, never discusses it. It's very strange. You get a part later where is it First Officer Murdoch saying, is it Murdoch? They have one of the officers saying something like, "Oh, Ismay's an old woman." Oh, is it? And it's like, is that really how they would have talked about the managing director of their company?
No.
Like, I don't know about the rest of you, but if you're managing director or you're like
You keep your
head of
opinions
service
for
or,
yourself.
yeah, you keep yourself. You do, like, these are officers. These are a lot of them. I think I'd like all have been in the Navy. I think these were seamen. These were men. These were men who officers had been at sea. They were very experienced. You didn't just walk into a officership on the Titanic. This is not how these people would have talked. I'm not saying they didn't have private misgivings, but they did not. There's arguments that Lightoller was a bit of a company man, particularly when it comes to the inquiries. But but who knows? The idea that they would be like this is like, really, it just.
I'm gonna stop you for 1 second because a good dear friend of mine he entered the chat. Sir Dennis, how are you, my friends? It's good to see you catching one stream. It's good to see you, Dennis. How are you? Thank you so very much for joining. Dennis, we are talking about the whole of the Titanic 2012 miniseries. Each episodes we're breaking it down and dissecting the scenes we loved and we didn't like. So I hope with this live streaming you will watch this with an understanding. But it's good to see you, Dennis. I'm joined by Sean from the podcast Review It Yourself. But sorry, Sean, continue, please.
No, it's all right. You got to shut me up at some point. Hey, Dennis, nice to have you here. Yeah, I was just looking at some of the comments. Actually, it's quite funny. Someone said I snapped the DVDs in half.
Yeah.
And then who? So I loved. To be fair, Plo Koon put on. I loved how the visual of how the ship broke up from the perspective of someone in the water. Yeah, I did. I love that bit where it's not Paolo, is it? His brother climbs onto the top of the collapse, the lifeboat, and screams for his brother. And then you hear the noise. Like that last episode is by far the best, and the sinking scenes are great.
Look, Dennis, I'm glad you're here, sir, but you don't have to make me jealous with your going of the maiden voyage of the Queen Anne, man. I wish you're making me jealous. I wish I could be there, but I'm very happy for you, and I hope you will have an amazing maiden voyage. I'm going to show you now also a scene before I, by the way, show you the next scene. With this second episode, Sean, I don't know if you noticed as well. Excuse me, but this episode is way more historic. It's not like the first episode, like the monarchy of first class, second class. This one is more historical. Also, one scene I'm about to show you right now is the conference, let's call it, of the officers, the decks, and or their decks, their duties. After this, moves on. By the way, quick, here's where Maloney finds out he gets tickets to the main voyage in steerage. But let's move on.
Any problems to report, Chief? Anything we should know about before we begin the trials?
Nothing yet, sir.
Ah, good. How are you doing with the crew, Mr. Lightoller?
We're taking on men here in Belfast and in Southampton. No problem so far, sir.
Mr. Blair?
Well, if a second officer is allowed to complain, sir, the storage space is limited. I'm packing equipment in all over the place, sir.
Well, make sure someone knows where it is. We don't want to get caught out if you fall overboard.
Are we taking any measures against the anarchists, sir?
What?
These are dangerous times.
I think Officer Murdoch means that a ship as famous as Titanic is an obvious target, sir.
Gentlemen, all White Star ships carry guns. And I don't believe a bomb would do sufficient damage to take us down. But I'm afraid that's all I can say to reassure you. Life is a risk every day that passes. The truth is, man might sink us, even if nature can't.
Steerage.
So, I don't know if you know, Sean, but were there, of course, with Home Rule, of course, they're political, there are some people who will stir things up. But was there talk about the bomb being on the Titanic?
Not as far as I know, but I do know it was a time. It was very what's the right word? Oh, who cares? Things were very unstable at the time, so there was a massive coal strike that was on. Lots of ships didn't sail. In fact, the White Star Line have to pull coal from other ships.
Yeah, I remember. Yes,
yes. Yeah, that's why lots of people end up on the ship that were never meant to be on. In terms of a bomb threat, I don't think there was anything specific, but there was probably always that risk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if the series. I'm not sure, to be honest, but it feels like the series is just trying to make things just looking for an excuse to talk about. They just want Smith to say, "Oh well, man won't sink her," and all this. So it's again like reinforcing that whole we've built better than man, and we've built better than God or whatever. Which, it's a very strange. It's like Ava Hart said when her mother went on board the ship. Just made my microphone. Sorry.
Oh, wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. We've been copyrighted stroke. No! Oh God! I knew this was going to happen. Oh, Sean, you muted yourself once again.
Can't you just clip those bits out later on? As far as I understand,
I can. Oh God, there goes my YouTube partnership. No.
Okay. Oh, they've kicked us, have they? Right. Okay.
Oh wait, guys, can you still see us? Are we still live?
No, it says stream unavailable. No, it's gone. It's gone.
Wait, really?
Yeah, it's gone. Yeah, it says stream unavailable. Stream suspended for policy violations.
No. No! No!
Oh bugger!
Who struck me? Oh wait, we're back.
Oh no!
Oh no! Wait! Oh no! Wait! Wait! Are we back?
I can't. Hang on! I can't see us back yet. Hang on.
No, but it says live.
Is anyone alive out there?
Wait, guys, are we live? Can you hear us?
Oh, hang on.
Are you back?
Is anyone? Your face is turned up.
Wait.
I don't know. I don't know
Oh,
if
we're back.
We're back.
We're back. We're back. Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Is there
We're
anyone
back.
alive out there?
No, we're back.
Can
We're
anyone
back,
hear
we're
me?
back, we're back. We're back. We're back.
Shout or tap if you can hear me.
We're back.
Dear me.
We're back. YouTube can't take us down.
Guess who's back? Back. Oh god, no! I best not say that. We'll get struck again.
Oh, I knew this was going to happen. Oh, playing these scenes, man.
Well, hey ho.
God damn it.
Just use some freeze frames later. Just use some like freeze frames later on. It'll be alright.
Yeah.
Be alright.
We would have well, I guess I can always look later if there is Oh no! Wait, no! Wait, what? Oh, I don't know how this works. But anyway, guys, sorry, copyright struck. You know how those things go. Shit.
I thought we weren't swearing.
Nah, no. I'm in shock. Nah, we're back. Okay, so we need to be careful. We need to be careful how we move on further.
I haven't done anything. I haven't done anything.
I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay showing these scenes, but clearly it was bloody not. We've been denied.
I thought you could use clips for like review purposes. Oh, who knows?
No, I was just using the YouTube video.
Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, well, in that case, I guess it's a little bit my fault, isn't it?
Hey, Jamie, if we go to quote the series, if we're going down, we should go down fighting.
Yeah.
I'm not going to add the "I love you" on the end of it. That's not there. But no, it's
on your end. Can you see me on stream? Are we back?
Hang on a second. No, I shall let you know in a moment.
Dennis just joined as well. No, Dennis.
Yeah, I can see you. It's just
okay,
yeah,
now
you
we're back.
with your brick background. You're very
Yeah. We're back. Okay, we're gonna be careful. Yes, but what were we talking about?
This is why I podcast.
Yeah.
No, I am
back at it again. No.
I was probably just God knows what I was on about. Yeah, I can't remember.
Welcome back, guys.
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah. We were talking about Captain Smith and the whole scene where it's like, God won't sink us, a man might. Oh, God's sake!
Yeah.
Again, with how unsubtle the series is, like it's just, I don't know. I mean, I remember asking my dad. I said to my dad, I'm talking about the Titanic 2012 series, and he was like, it was something out, wasn't it? And that's just the way. That's just a Yorkshire way of saying it just wasn't all that. Like it was built up to be something great, and it's just not, unfortunately. Yeah.
I'm gonna try to do this in a different way. I won't play audio. But I will show what happens. Let's see if that happens. So, and then I play audio. Bloody stupid. This is basically, but back to the program. This is basically the scene where the officers, they are being talked of what their positions will be, and here is where we also see that Blair is leaving the ship in Southampton. I love this bit because we've never actually seen the part of actually Blair being denied, have we? I mean, not denied, but not getting the post or.
No, not in a film or TV.
No. Are you mute? Did you mute yourself again?
Yeah, I keep muting. I'm suffering terribly with hay fever.
No, but what do you think of the scene right here when with Blair being let's honestly say denied?
I mean, he
oh wait. Sorry, I'm gonna interrupt. So Dennis, wait. It's again unavailable. What? No, please stop. Oh no, it's gone. Shit. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Sean, you muted yourself again.
Sorry.
Right, we're gonna do this a different way. We're gonna do this a different way because apparently I can't even show the scenes anymore. Shit.
Oh, we'll just. I've got a talk through. We can go through that. I'm good at impressions.
I'm sorry. This isn't how I planned things to go down.
Happens to the best of us. It's all learned. It's all learned.
Stream suspended for policy violations.
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean? It's not coming back.
Well, it said that before, didn't it?
Yeah, but
we came back.
We're gonna take other actions if it keeps happening. It says we're still live. Okay, now we're back. Okay, we're back. Okay, guys, we are back and running. Okay, so guys, YouTube doesn't like me showing the series, so we're gonna stop.
See, guys, even YouTube doesn't like the series.
YouTube doesn't like the series.
YouTube's like, don't put that trash on. We don't want to see it.
Don't put the Titanic 2012 series. We don't want any of this. Stop what you're doing. Stop it. We don't want you again uploading this. We're not. So again, guys, I'm sorry. YouTube clearly doesn't want us to showcase this, so we're gonna just move along with the scenes. So let me get something right up here because otherwise I don't want you to look at my screen the whole time. Dennis, I hope you're still here, my friend. Let's hope you're here. Let's see.
Dennis.
Sir Dennis. But no, yes. So let's continue with episode 2. Where were we?
I have no idea. Yeah, okay. So for the third and hopefully final time, we were talking about Captain Smith and Blair. I tell you what, though, I really didn't like is I did not like Chief Officer Wilde comes on board who's been with him for the he's been on the Olympic and Murdoch's like so was I. I hated the fact that and I love the actor. I love the actor who plays Wilde, Chief Officer Wilde. He's been in The Crown. All sorts. He always plays like authority characters. I love the actor.
Yeah.
Love the guy. I can't remember the guy's name. But they just made him this like toadying sycophant. Like every time Smith was like, I think we should do this. Yeah, oh, yes, sir. I think we should do that too. Mm-hmm. It was like, oh, really? And again with Murdoch, like I don't know. But the fact that like after they hit the iceberg, it's just like bloody stupid. Bloody stupid. That was that's my Scottish impression. Oh, even though anyway. It was like what So interesting to see Blair and the whole that he leaves and where did Davy leave the binoculars? Oh, we don't know. It's interesting to see that, but again, do we need it? I don't think we do. We've got that many characters in this series. You could have used the time more wisely. I think there's just too much going on, unfortunately. And it's interesting to see, but again, do we need it? Probably not.
No. So we talked about the political side of things. For some reason, it doesn't say I'm copyright struck, which is strange. But I'm trying to find out what's happening.
See, when people ask me why don't I come to YouTube, I'm like, Yeah, I think it's. I'd have to get my head around it.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
episode 2. We've pretty much we've
we've talked about.
flogged that one to death.
Yeah.
I
So
think.
if when it comes to episode 2, what's your rating again be? Because I'm gonna ask again your ratings on episode 2.
Ratings again. I sound so unenthusiastic. Don't I? I don't do ratings usually. I don't know. Same as I think I think all the episodes are like 6, 7 out of 10, apart from the last one, which is like maybe an 8 out of 10. It just not again not that good. I think the next episode 3 is better. You know, with Paolo. Oh, geez, and he said Paulo.
Paolo Sandrini.
I'd have had Jamie give me devil eyes if I'd said Paulo. Sandrini.
Paolo Sandrini, yes.
Yeah, and Annie Desmond, and that, you know, I like that we met the actor. Well, no, it's David Evans, who's a Scots Guard, figures out this Peter is, you know, a cop killer. Again, I love the relationship between Miss Watson and Mr. Barnes. I thought that storyline could have carried the series. Really loved it. Loved the performances. Although the terrible sound effect when the Irish guy punches Peter the Painter who's kissing his wife is just dreadful. It's like something out of Indiana Jones.
Also, with that kind of series, what we missed to talk about is with Bartley. Bartley, his wife, the Irish woman, she's kind of depressed. And for some reason, she even gets more depressed after seeing Lady Mountbatten. You're muted again, Sean. Lady Mountbatten, she gets more depressed, Miss Batley, because I don't know, maybe because Mountbatten thinks she's so high up.
I think she's just very. You know, he's gone. Batley's gone out, worked for people. She clearly, you know, her life hasn't gone the way she planned. She says it in, I think, is it the last episode, the next episode, where she says something like, "What happened to that sweet girl you married? What happened to her?" And I think she's just,
"I was nice, wasn't I?"
Yeah. What happened to me, type thing. And I think, I think it's she's. I think it all comes to a head for her, really, that she feels like her husband is like, you know, he feels like he's lesser than people, and she's essentially like, no, you're not lesser than people. But then again, you find out that she's been unable to have a child, and you know that impact upon somebody is huge. And I think, especially, probably even more so, 111 years ago, where that was the expected thing. You got married, and the woman provided a baby, and we could get into all the gender, you know,
guys. I found a way. Sorry, Sean. I found a way to showcase some visuals. We're not gonna play the YouTube. We're not doing that bloody mistake again. I found pictures. Let's go. Oh no! This is the wrong button. Oh, the stream's going all over the bloody place.
Don't worry about it. Don't get stressed.
Let's see. Right, and okay, and we're gonna play some visuals right here for you guys. Old shipping lines can't be broken. We're back, baby. No, but like also one thing with the scene. Also Murdoch, like we heard earlier, before we got copyright struck, is Murdoch. He has a very prominent role in talking to Captain Smith about the dangers with the anarchists, and also when it comes to talking about icebergs, he's like, but we've had ice warnings, sir, in the area. And what's the officer's name? I blank out. Who was with him on the bridge?
Well, there's First Officer Murdoch, there's Chief Officer Wilde.
Wild, yes. Yeah. And it's like when Murdoch says, like, there are the worst talk excuse me, about ice warning, sir. Walt is like, I think we need to trust Captain Smith with what is best. And you can kind of see the hierarchy of ranks coming within the officers as well.
Yeah, I mean, and to be fair, they don't give Smith any credit. The fact he steams further south than they ever expect.
Mm-hmm.
He steams further south than they ever did before. He takes a more southerly route.
Mm-hmm.
The ice had never been that far south before, or had never been recorded to go that south before. Yes, there was reports of ice, but as far as I understand it, the logic of the time was to get out of that area as quickly as you could.
Mm-hmm.
You steamed out of that area. You either did what the Californian did, you stopped for ice, you stopped because there was too much around you, you just stopped and waited, or you waited for daylight, sorry, I should say, or you steamed through the area as quick as you could. The idea being, well, let's just get out of there. Let's just get out of there.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, there was overconfidence in the ship, but I think it's kind of unfair. You can argue a lot about how Smith acted, um, after the ship hits the iceberg, but in terms of before it, you know, he's very experienced, and I think it's sometimes to not show all the facts and then to kind of show him acting kind of recklessly, because yeah, it does sound reckless. What, you steam into an ice field,
Mm-hmm.
at 21 knots doesn't sound particularly clever, but when you look at it in the context of the time, it makes a lot more sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and of course, the idea is to think anything big enough to sink them, they will see. And then,
Mm-hmm.
the fact that Captain Smith doesn't get all the ice warnings, particularly one, I want to say from the SS Masaba, that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
reach I think it gets put on a spike by, Phillips. And, that discussion at the beginning about, well, lifeboats are ferries, yeah, that was generally believed. That's what they kind of were. They weren't to put everybody on. Um, and it's easy to blame one man. It's easy to blame the captain. Let's
Yeah.
not blame the border.
Yeah.
The border trade regulations that ships had tripled, quadrupled in size and in 10 years, and the regulations hadn't kept up.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very easy to kind of put the blame on one person. But that hierarchy, yeah, is definitely there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there you go.
Also the scene with, of course, there's a scene when it comes to episode 2 about the question of the binoculars, which we also have seen in James Cameron's movie, of course, where they said, "I wonder where the binoculars are." Again, it's here, and then Captain Smith is like, "Yeah, I think Blair put him in left them in Southampton, of course, and we get that thing of the sinking as well. What is an office?
Sorry.
Oh yeah, the scene of Batley watching the iceberg pass, and we are now, by the way, my friends, moving on to the sinking again of this episode of episode 2, and Batley is like kind of crying outside. Because of course he heard the news that his wife is actually just depressed in a kind of way. She's not happy, and Badley comes outside and it's like, I've screwed up. What have I done with my life? And Captain Smith comes over to him and he's like, how did your tea party go with the Mountbattens? Actually showing care into his passengers. And Badley is like, what was it? It's very hard to make Miss Badley happy these days. And you can see the question, the face of Smith, like shrugging, like, "Oh God, okay, I will say good night," and then he walks off.
Well, it's a very, I mean, yeah. I think the way that the English were then, I mean, you
Mhm.
can say you can argue we're quite reserved now,
Mhm.
but back then, yeah, if someone, I mean, men wouldn't stand around talking about their feelings and how their wives are feeling. He very much, it would be the opinion of Smith is very much like, well, I bid you good night. I'll leave you to
Yeah.
your thoughts. I think
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
how you deal with it. You wouldn't be very much like, oh, let's sit down and have a nice cup of tea and figure out. It's
yeah.
not how it would have gone. So
Let's
that was actually one of the more realistic portrayals I feel of how a man would have reacted. And this is the captain. He probably wants to get to bed, so
yeah.
it felt more realistic in that respect. You know. Uh, again, they go through stereotypes. When the Italian's
Mhm.
very excitable, don't want him
Mhm.
running around all over the ship. It's like, really? Um,
Also, oh, please go ahead. Sorry.
no, it's fine. Go on.
Also with the one scene where we talked earlier about in the previous earlier in this live stream, where Ismay of course tells Tai, or no, wait, I'm saying it wrong. Ismay is on the bridge of the Titanic, and they're like talking about the speed of the Titanic. And very interesting is when it comes to the movie of James Cameron, we get the idea that Ismay is pushing Smith to go faster, like why I see you haven't lit the last boilers. And Smith in the movie of Cameron is like, I don't see no need. But in this series, it's the other way around. So Smith is like, I think we can make a little bit headway, and Ismay is like, let Cunard handle speed, let us handle luxury, and they
Well,
flip that
yeah.
around.
Well, yeah, that was the depiction we see in James Cameron's film comes from Miss Elizabeth Lyons, who said that she witnessed that conversation. You can in fact see a woman playing her behind him in a table.
Mm-hmm.
In the actual James Cameron film, that's where that
Mm-hmm.
comes from. That discussion of let's get into New York on Tuesday night and surprise them all.
Yeah.
Retire with a bang, AEJ. Even though Captain Smith wasn't due to retire, he said he would continue to sail ships for as long as they let him. And he was the millionaire's
Yeah.
captain. That's what he was known as. Millionaire people would follow whatever ship he was on. The depiction they have in this are very much, let Cunard handle luxury. Let Cunard handle speed. We will handle luxury. Yeah, absolutely. They could not compete with Lusitania, Mauritania for speed. They couldn't do it. They knew they couldn't do it. The White Star, the Olympic liners were old hat in terms, there was in terms of their propulsion and in terms of everything was huge, but in terms of their rudder and things like that, it was all very old fashioned technology. Even by 1912, these weren't state of the art in terms of the way they were as a ship. So
Mm-hmm.
they couldn't. They did. That's why they go for bigger and better. They go bigger, more luxurious. They don't go for trying to be quicker. And the idea that if the ship got into New York early would be brilliant. Well, would it? Because all these passengers, particularly the rich ones, would have reservations for trains and stuff like that for the Wednesday, and then you bring them in, a day early or half a day early, and well, what?
Mm-hmm.
How are they? How are they going to have to get hotels and things like that? I struggle to believe they would have wanted to get there early. I don't see it. I'm not arguing. This maiden voyage of Titanic must make headlines. Yeah,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
okay, but it felt very. I don't know. It bit over the top. It's difficult to know. I mean, I'm just talking. These are my opinions on what I've read so far. They could change if I read something different. No
Mm-hmm.
one knows. We weren't there. Um, as James Cameron said, I think in Tony Robinson, when he went to dive to Titanic, I think in about 2005 with Cameron on his last dive to the Titanic, he said James Cameron says it's easy to look at it from afar, to judge people from afar. It's very easy to judge what people did and how they acted, um, after the fact or so far on. So that's not what I'm trying to do at all. But it's damn
Mm-hmm.
interesting to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to the sinking, we follow, of course, Badley's around, and we follow the crew. And this is again one scene. The Titanic has hit the iceberg, and Smith. I wouldn't say it's like karma, but he's like blaming himself for hitting the iceberg, like you said earlier, Sean. When it comes to Ismay, he said like, "Let him be the coward of Titanic, or I will be the fool who sank her."
Yeah.
In kind of way, it's kind of tragic. That scene happens in the picture I'm showing you right here.
Jamie,
Yeah.
are we on episode 3? Are we on episode 3 or episode 4?
Episode 2.
We still on 2?
Yeah.
Oh, I've been discussing 3, sorry.
No. We're still episode 2. But we follow the crew around and the battles during their sinking. And of course, again, there are some amazing visuals when it comes to the sinking. But YouTube is like, nah, we're not showing you this. So yeah, that's what kind of happens in episode 2. You know, Sean, I think I'm gonna end the live stream here. We've been streaming for around how long have we started streaming? Let me see.
I think it's an hour. Is it an hour and 45? I think hour and 40. An hour and 42, something like that. Hour and 43.
Yeah. So I think if you're interested, Sean, because it was lovely having you in this stream.
I've still got half my notes left. I wanna.
Also, because my MacBook is about to die and I can't stream like properly without my internet, so I need to recharge.
That's all right.
But if you're up to it, Sean, it would be my honor again to have you as my co-host maybe next week.
Yeah, no problem at all.
And we can then finish the last episode, the last 2 episodes, episode 3 and episode 4. Yeah. So guys, in the chat, thank you all so very much for joining this live stream. I'm gonna bring it for the final scene back on my face. If I can find the proper... Here we go. We're gonna add Sean to our left. Yes, let's add him to our left. Again, guys, thank you all so very much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. Sorry if we got copyrighted struck twice. There was a part of the plan, but I should have seen it coming. But anyway, guys, I hope you joined or enjoyed this quick live stream of the first 2 episodes of Titanic, the 2012 miniseries. Again, we will do this next week, next Sunday, to conclude our review. Sean, are there any more things you want to say before leaving?
No. Can I plug my podcast, or is that crass?
Of course, no. Of course, please do. Please, you must. It's a must.
Yeah. If anybody wants to hear exactly what I thought about this, you can find Review It Yourself on Spotify, Apple, or anywhere you get your podcasts. Review It Yourself. That's what it's called.
Yes.
I actually reviewed every episode of this series, episode 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 2021. So feel free to go back and listen to what I think. I'm a lot more annoyed in those, but go back and listen to what I thought of those. But no, again, Jamie, thanks for having me on, and thanks to anybody for listening. I hope I haven't rambled too much.
Of course, and I think I've been we've been talking earlier off screen, and we were talking about how much we enjoy talking about these kind of movies and ships. And again, Sean, this experience has been amazing. I completely share your opinion. It's amazing to talk ships with you, and again, I hope you will join me next week, and maybe for future reviews on this YouTube channel.
Yep, I'd absolutely love to. I've been accused quite a few times of talking ship, although I might have misheard people. But no, no, it's been great, and yeah, it's again just really nice to chat and share my knowledge with the people. I'm joking, but no, it's been fun.
Guys, if you like what you saw, please make sure to subscribe. If you have any ocean liner, or if you have any friends who like ocean liners or ships, please show them my channel. That will help out very much. If you have any thoughts or comments on this live stream or on this series, please leave them in the description down below. I am looking forward to those. And we're leaving on this final note from Mr. Dennis himself. You should do the 1979 TV movie SOS Titanic. Maybe in the future, Dennis. You never know. You never know if this will be like live stream reviews. Again, guys, thank you so very much for watching, and a final sorry for all the copyright stuff. It won't happen again. But again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see each other on the next video. Goodbye, everybody.
Cheers.